Hi guys, hope everybody's safe and well. This video is for the written final. Just a quick explanation of what to do as you go through the test. The first page is a conversion page where you're going to be converting the tablature pictures. This is not the tablature with numbers, but the tablature pictures of chords into notation. And so that very first example is done for you. The chord name is A minor, and I put that on the example that I sent to you on your test. And what I did was I converted each note in the chord into a tablature note, or I converted the tablature note into a notation note. So the correct fret, for example, fourth string, second fret, that's the E that's on the bottom line there. So if the chord is given like this, you are to write in the notes. Now remember, this is not tablature, these are note heads. So if you're trying to figure them out, again, this being a take-home final, you can use page 25 in the Distler PDFs to find your notes. They are all listed there. And if there's a sharp in the chord, like we see in this chord here, I give you that note. I already write it in. So there's a couple of notes that are sharp, and I've written them in for you. On the bottom row, you have the notation given, and there are some sharps in there. There's a C sharp and an F sharp in that bottom row, and you have to make sure to convert those. Those I expect you to be able to do on your own. If you can find an F, the correct F, you raise it a half step. And when I say correct, I mean the correct pitch. So if you're playing a C chord, there should be 5 notes in that chord, just like the picture in the back of Hal Leonard, page 47, shows for a C chord. And that means you'll have a note that's on each string of that chord. So you'll have a 5th string note, a 4th string note, a 3rd string note, a 2nd string note, and a 1st string note. Any kind of D chord should have 4 strings, a note on the D string, G string, B string, and E string. So examine the chord, look at how many notes are in the chord and what strings these notes should be on, and make sure you're notating them correctly. So if there's a picture of the chord, just to reiterate, you turn it into notation. I wrote it like a scale, not a stack of notes, just to make it easier for you to write and easier for me to read. That's how the example A minor is done on that first page. And then if there is a group of notes like a scale, you take them one at a time and color them into the tablature. Remember, once you figure out what the bass note is, you should have an idea of what the letter name of the chord is. So you might want to start there and use the pictures to help you and guide you from page 47 of Hal Leonard once again. So convert the pictures to notes and the notes to pictures. No linear tablage from left to right here. No numbers on frets. It's notation, 5 lines with note heads only. I know that question was asked, so I just want to be real clear to everybody that that is what we're doing. Notation to chord tablature to notation. On page 2, I listed all 15 chords. Okay, so what you have to do there is name the chord, mark the root string with an R, and mark the alternating bass with an AB above the string. So again, if you're not sure what interval we use for an alternating bass, you can go back to chapter 10 and look at what Distler suggested to us to be the best note to use. There's also the worksheet video I did that does the worksheets in chapter 10. And I go through every chord name that we have and tell you what the alternating bass is by counting up to that interval. So name every chord. There's 3 parts for each picture here, and there's 15 pictures. Name the chord, mark the root string at the top, like where the nut would be. And you can see I have on the test that I sent to you, the examples written in for the first chord. An R above the root string and an AB above the alternating bass. If the alternating bass is not an open string, you must write in the note. You must write in the note on the correct fret. Remember to write in between the frets to show me the correct fret on the string, just like all of these notes are. None of them are written on a fret. They're all on the vertical strings, okay? So once again, name the chord, mark the root string for each chord. They should be on the bass strings only, lowest root, and the lowest alternating bass. So all the roots and alternating bass notes should be on the 6th, 5th, or 4th string. None of those should be marked on 3, 2, or 1. Okay, then the next page is pretty self-explanatory. It talks about finger picking. It says free stroke technique with the right hand uses the letters P, I, M, and A to indicate fingers. Write the common name of the fingers besides each letter. P, write the finger. I, write the finger. M, write the finger. A, write the finger. And then label them on the little picture of the hand there as well. Then tell me what the function is for each of those fingers. Fill in the blanks with the correct string. You can find this information in the beginning of chapter 11. What does P play? What is P's job? What does I play? And we're looking for string numbers here for all of these. What does M play and what does A play? So go back and look at that if you need to, but I want you to tell me what each finger's job is. What is P's job, I, M, and A? What do they play? What strings do they play? Do they just play one string or do they play multiple strings? And then there's a diagram that represents a free stroke pattern on the bottom of the page. The chord names given above the measure, which is A minor. The letters show the order in which the right hand fingers are used to play the strings. P, I, M, A, M, I. I want you to write the correct string number under each letter. So the chord is A minor. Should tell you then what the bass string is just by the name of the chord, or what the root string is. And then you tell me what finger plays the root string, and then what finger, what string I is going to play, M is going to play, A is going to play, M is going to play, I is going to play, and of course it starts with P. What string is P going to play? So those should all be string numbers down on the bottom there, just like we demonstrated. You can find that in the finger picking video. I did some examples on worksheets of that, and you can get the information of how to do that also out of chapter 11. The very last page, page 4, so make sure you do all 4 pages, is a simple chord chart. So there's a lead sheet. A lead sheet is something containing the melody on the notation. The melody is on the staff with notation, and the chords are written above. I want you to make me a simple chord chart. And you can find examples of me doing that in the chapter 9 video of the last series, I believe series 6, chapter 9 video, where I do the worksheets. So all the information you need is already on this sheet. You just have to copy some of it off and write me the simple chord chart on the bottom. If there's a chord you don't recognize here, that's okay, because I'm not asking you to play it or draw it. If the chord, for example, is B flat, you just have to make sure you use that name in the proper way when you're making the simple chord chart and put it in the proper place. In other words, in your simple chord chart. There are 3 elements that need to be represented in your simple chord chart for me as a guitar player to look at it and be able to strum through it correctly. Okay? So, of course, if you have any questions, you can email me, and if we need to have a Zoom meeting about any of these or the performance test, feel free to request that. Again, I'm asking that everybody gets these sheets done by the required date that was in the email, and no later, because I do have to get these graded in a timely fashion, so I'm asking you to have them done for me in the date by the requested in the email. So good luck, have a great day, and we'll see you guys soon. Guys and girls, gals, everyone, class, see you soon.